So, Catherine, you ready to jump into it here in a moment?
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen, or should I wait a second before I do that?
Wait just a second.
No problem.
Wait just a second. All right. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, welcome. Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Roshan. I help real estate agents have no broke months. Today, I am joined with Katherine Friedman, and Katherine is going to talk to us about how to be able to earn commissions while you generate leads. And so a little bit about Katherine is she worked at the Marriott Hotels in New York City, as well as a real estate agent, and started a travel business in 2019. So welcome, Katherine. Thank you for joining us. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having your videos on. You guys are freaking amazing. Who's having the best day of your life, by the way? Anybody? Anybody?
I
Anybody?
definitely am.
Friday. Yeah.
Friday. All right. Fantastic. Katherine, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
My pleasure. So, what can you share with us today? You mentioned that you're going to share a PowerPoint, but what can you share with us today about how do you earn commissions while generating leads?
Yeah, so I think my main mastermind topic is going to be around how you can monetize your database and your clients past just your real estate deals. I've been able to combine real estate and travel, so I'm able to monetize my clients in both the travel side and that concierge aspect of how we service our clients, while also building up my real estate business here in New York City. And so now I'm building out a team and helping other agents do the same. So whether you're an agent that has always loved travel, you've traveled a lot on your personal time, and you find yourself talking about travel and getting to know your clients on a deeper level, there's actually a way you can grow your earnings and your bottom line by combining the two.
So tell us, how do we do that? I love to travel. I love to make money. What do I do?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to really think about is, what's your strategy? What do you already do in real estate? And what kind of personal brand have you developed that's on social and in all of your email communications and campaigns, right? Because if you haven't developed your personal brand and those communication lines and pillars, then bringing in something like travel is going to become random, and your clients are not going to really know where it's coming from. So one of the strategies that I always talk through with agents that are considering doing this, and these are just high level ideas that seem to really mesh the two worlds together well, is relocation. So if you live in a market where there are a lot of people moving to your market. I live in Manhattan. A lot of people have been leaving Manhattan, unfortunately, right? So we always need to have our referral networks. But if you're helping people move within your marketplace, how can you monetize, but also level up your service value and proposition to that client? So you could not only just help them find an apartment or a home to buy in your given market, but you could help them travel to your market. You could find them the best hotel, the best short-term rental property, book their flight, have a car pick them up at the airport. That can all be monetized while really impressing that client, because we know moving is one of the most stressful things that someone goes through. And if you can add that service to your business, then wow, your marketing has just amplified over maybe another agent within your marketplace. So that
It's
would be
like a concierge service, really.
exactly, because it also really gives you more content, more things to talk about on social media. Because when I'm speaking with agents, what people really struggle with is, I don't know what to talk about. I did my 2 posts this week and I don't know what else I can say. And there's so much you can say. And it's really dialing into every single step of the process and where you fit into each step and what you do. I don't think agents give themselves enough credit with the hand holding that is involved in our jobs. It's not just submitting offers and negotiating. It is way more than
You seem like you've been spying on me this morning.
that. Why is that?
Oh, goodness. I've been holding a lot of hands today.
Exactly. I mean, my goodness, I feel like I sometimes have 10 different jobs, but
Been holding a lot of hands today. So, let's go back, Catherine. So, how did you get in? Walk us through a journey. And did you say you had a PowerPoint that you wanted to share?
I have one, but honestly, if you kind of just want to go back with whatever works best for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Well, let's walk through this. So, when did you get your real estate license?
I got my real estate license in the summer well, no, like spring of 2018, but I was
Okay.
still Marriott at the time. I was very scared to leave Marriott. So I did real estate as like a side hustle, nights and weekends for a year.
What did you do at Marriott?
I had a variety of different sales and marketing positions. I started in Boston. So I was an admin and then I was in catering sales. And then Marriott moved me to New York City. I was overseeing group sales at the Brooklyn Bridge Marriott. And then I was in global sales with Marriott. So I managed a corporate account portfolio of about 40 million on behalf of Marriott and Starwood brands.
How long you been in New York for?
For almost 9 years. I'm waiting for my 10 year, then I'm officially a New Yorker.
Do you love it?
I do. I really
Yeah.
do. It took me 18 months to love it. It was a
Okay.
real transition, but I adore the city.
That's who here on this call right now would love New York City. I'm just curious.
I do, just because I'm from New York.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. Lots of thumbs ups there. Lots of thumbs up. New York has fans.
Yeah,
Just curious. Just curious. All right. So it took you about 18 months to sort of get acclimated. And then at the time you were working at Marriott, and then you in 2018 decided to get your real estate license.
yeah.
And okay, Travis is in New York as well. Fantastic. And so then you got your license, and then it was a year before you went full time.
Correct.
Okay. That's not untypical. It took me, I mean, not quite a year, but a little bit of time. I didn't go full time myself, immediately. It was 6 months. But yeah, that's pretty common. And so then you go full time, and then at what point do you integrate the concierge travel service as a part of your business?
I when I went full time, that's when I immediately got my license to run and operate a travel agency. I always knew I wanted to combine the two in some way. And so, summer of 2019 is when I went full time. I started my travel agency. And my initial idea was I was already working with different corporate accounts and companies in the city, and I had a really great database of clients. And I wanted to offer travel, meeting planning services, but also housing and relocation for the companies that I already knew really well in New York. So to be that kind of like concierge suite of services. And it started really well for probably those 8 months from, July of 2019. And then very shortly afterwards, as we all know, COVID-19 impacted everybody's life.
Yeah.
My was really impacted along with my business. I ended up quarantining in New York City. Maybe that's why I have such a unique relationship with the city. So I did have to shift my business at that time 100% to obviously figure out what I was going to do because that corporate business travel approach, at that time really wasn't going to make sense.
Okay. And so it was like just sort of an evolution, and then pandemic happens, and you got to just sort of figure out, okay, now what? And I think particularly New York probably was impacted more so than some other. I mean, we were all impacted, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. But I do think that you had some unique circumstances in New York that would be unique to that location.
It was really, I think what was so unique to Manhattan specifically was
Yeah.
there was no upswing in the real estate market here. Like,
Right.
the market was very quiet. We didn't see
Yeah.
up in sales prices. We just saw a decline in activity. I couldn't show any apartments. I was, look, most of my deals are in co-op or condo buildings. So
Okay.
able to show anything. It was a very unusual time where I couldn't, there are not even a lot of lock boxes where I can go and show something on my own. So yeah, it was really difficult. And I took that year to educate myself on different kinds of transactions I could do. So for example, I started doing deals out in Brooklyn. I started doing deals up in the South Bronx to get myself out of that city center. And I started then learning what the leisure side of the travel business looked like because I had always been so corporate.
Got it. All right. So now you integrate the leisure side of the business into your business. So there's two things that I want to understand by the end of this conversation is number one, how did you do that? And number two, how can another agent that's listening or watching this right now do it as well? So walk us step by step. What did you do?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I did was originally, even though I was a licensed agency, I joined another leisure travel agency as like an
Okay.
contractor because I needed to understand like this whole business model, the suppliers involved, and what it all entailed because I had really only been in the hotel side of things, right? So when my eyes were open to all of the possibilities with suppliers, so that means, hotel booking engines, short-term vacation properties worldwide, tours, activities, experiences, Broadway shows, tourism boards. There are so many partnerships that you can develop on the leisure side of things. That's when my wheels started to spin with, okay, I'm starting to see ways I can connect the dots. So, another specific example of how agents can do this is if you're working with clients on a short-term rental basis within your own market. You can then open your business up and say you can actually help your clients with short-term rentals worldwide. We have several suppliers that give you access to do that. Some of the suppliers have such sophisticated back ends where you can source the vacation property, you can create a unique link out of your own account, and you can send those links to a client and they can book the vacation property on their own while you do earn a commission off of that booking. So I just think that's a really unique way because what's really interesting is the amount of digital nomads that rise in this post-pandemic environment. And I actually looked up the number because I was really curious before I got on this mastermind today. The digital nomads have reached 17.3 million as of mid to 2023. So that's 10 million more than in 2019. So that lifestyle, it's happening. And if you want to tap into it, I think that's such a unique value that agents could be marketing for their business.
How much of your income comes from real estate sales versus commissions on leisure services?
I would say so. Last year, my income was probably 70-30, 70 being real estate because the market was so active last year.
Yeah.
And then 30% of it was from travel deals, I'll call it.
Okay.
This year, I would say it's 60-40. So 40% my travel deals, 60% my real estate deals, just with the ebbs and flows of the market and all of the things.
So if you're listening and watching this right now, I want you to consider that what Catherine's been able to do is she's been able to, our markets are down. So how can I take an already existing audience, an already existing client base, and add on a service that's going to provide a better value, contribute to them more so, and now I'm able to increase my income from 30 to 40%. Because she didn't have that, then that 30 or 40% last year and this year just wouldn't be there. And so I think whether if you add on the component of what Catherine's talking about right now, or any component of like what's already in the space of the people that I'm serving, how can I be able to add additional revenue opportunities on there whether it be travel services or something else. Because I think when you start thinking like that, any of us would love to increase our revenue by 40% without finding one additional client. Like, that's a brilliant plan that you have.
And I mean, every time I speak with agents, I get more ideas with how people interpret what I'm doing, right? So, like,
Sure.
for example, if within your market you become friendly with your tourism board, which I promise isn't that hard, your tourism
Okay.
board is there to help anybody go to more of the restaurants, experience more of the tours, the activities, and all the things going on in your city. So even how can you create, like if you're doing holiday events for your clients coming up in the next month or so, you could create such a unique holiday experience and event for your client, and it could potentially give you a commission on the back end for that experience, because that's exactly what tourism boards, destination management companies are truly to help you with.
Bless you. All right. So that's how you've done this. How can somebody like myself, I'm in the DC metropolitan area.
Okay.
Let's say I wanted to add this component into my business. What do I do?
I would first ask you, what's your existing marketing plan and how are you talking to your network right now? And then I would say, okay, based on your communication that goes out already, how can we add another bucket in your email campaigns, and then another post or two that we, add on a weekly or bi-weekly basis that's talking about some sort of a travel service. And then really going in on what would your niche be based on, your clients better than I do, but how would you niche it down? Sometimes you don't need to niche it down. If you simply, there are already, in New York City, we have a company called Casablanca, and they're a startup real estate company, but their business model is they help buyers, and then there's a membership. So after they help the buyer close on their home, Casablanca has a membership where they basically become that buyer's like assistant. They help with the move, then they help with like travel accommodations, dinner reservations, dry cleaning, all of these things. So that's very broad, but there's like this membership concierge service after you do a deal with Casablanca, right? So that's something you could also do, tapping in to some of this travel stuff, but it really would depend on what excites you the most.
Well, I don't have any connections with travel people besides yourself.
Okay.
Are you my connection to get this set up?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would also say, based on a real estate agent's bandwidth, right? If you're an active agent and you don't have an assistant or a coordinator helping you close out your deals, your head might be spinning with like, oh my God, now I have to listen to people's, all these other things that you're servicing. So we have a new partnership that's going to be launched in probably the next 2 weeks. And it's a global hotel booking engine with amazing discounts worldwide. And it's a unique link that'll be for every community member. And you can share that link almost as like a private membership of your community and provide those discounts, earn commissions off the back end. And the coolest part is you can issue a promo code that you offer your database. So they can, use that promo code you give them and get an extra like 3 or 5% off.
Okay. And how do I access that?
You would be a community member of Habitats by Cat. Everyone's going to be getting one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Habitats by Cat is that a website that I go to, or walk me through like how do I become a community member?
Yeah, so my website is habitatsbycat.co, and you'll see like an overview of our services and what we provide. There is a Join Us tab that you'll see on kind of the far right-hand side, and that outlines our 3 package offerings. The 3 offerings just vary based upon, the access you want. If you want all of the supplier access and the full platform, those are included in the 2 higher tiered packages. And our travel like an insider package is our entry level option.
right? And so habitatbycat.co.
Correct.
And Les, if you could put that in the chat, and also maybe Catherine's email in the chat as well, that
Yeah.
would be helpful. And so, okay, fantastic. So we can go to that website and we can figure out like, okay, this is something I'm interested in doing, and we can sign up for one of the 3 packages.
Exactly. And there's also a button on the website where if you want to have a consultation with me or you just want to reach out and email me a couple of questions, you're more than welcome to do that as well.
What's been your biggest learning opportunity by implementing this in your business?
My biggest learning has definitely been that when you feel like you're failing, like you've tried something and it doesn't work, don't look at it as like you've totally failed. Look at it as like, oh, okay, I tried it. That didn't work. So I can like check that off the list. Now I'm going to try something else. And I think in the market that we're in today, I think that's just such a good, lesson to remind yourself of, because I think agents are trying new things right now, and failing is really like, you're just moving forward. You just know that doesn't work, so you're going to try something again. When I first started doing this, people looked at me like I was crazy. They were like, I don't get it. I was faced with a lot of, a bit like aggressive negativity at times, but I kept picking at it. And now when I talk about it, I have agents messaging me on LinkedIn, emailing me, messaging me on Facebook, being like, I think it's so cool what you're doing. I want to learn more. Because now I finally honed in on how to convey this idea, but have it land correctly.
Yeah, I think if you're having nothing but successes, you're not trying nearly enough of anything. And if you're if you're not having failures, you're not out there, you're not doing it. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I can't tell you how many incredibly brilliant initiatives that 100%, 1000% are going to work that I've implemented that have all failed.
Exactly. And I don't think, sometimes on social media, you can see all of these very successful entrepreneurs and you only see the success. You see the videos that go viral. And you always have to remind yourself, they probably had years of failing before they got there. It's a huge, the biggest part of being successful is learning how to fail, right? So that was
I think so. Yeah, learning how to learn from and not perceiving it as a failure, but rather perceiving it as a learning opportunity. What's been your biggest success that you've had by implementing this?
I think my biggest success, I'd say, is, really supporting my own database and clients in a unique way. But I also really challenged myself. And I'd say being able to survive 2020 in Manhattan and find a way to shift my whole initial business model to now come out of 2020 and have, really hit my full stride. And growing my business has definitely been my biggest success, that I was able to, figure it out in such a challenging environment.
Did you find that time period was more challenging than it is today, or today's more challenging than then in real estate sales?
I would say I see some similarities between the market today and COVID in terms of just buyers being scared. Like everyone's kind of frozen, but 2020 was far more challenging for me, mainly because of how I was handling my emotions and how I was leading myself during that time. I was a very new entrepreneur. I had just left Marriott and then this all happened. And I didn't know how to deal with the failures like I do now. So now that we're in a tougher market, it's not easy, but I know what I have to do to keep pushing forward. And it's, staying consistent with your activity, doing your social media, doing your email marketing. That's really, I don't think it's a big secret, but I think it's easy to forget. If you just stay consistent with everything that you do, it will work out.
Yeah, I am practicing as lately about doing a series of experiments.
Yeah.
And yeah, right now I'm practicing experimenting with advertising on social media, on Google pay-per-click, on retargeting advertisements, etc., as though if I can't fail.
Yeah.
As though if understanding that it's going to take 90 to 180 days for me to really get this campaign up and running.
Yep.
And at 45 days when I'm, losing money, to not be concerned about it because it's going to take that much time.
Right.
Be smart about it, right? Like, I'm not going to, flush the money away, right? But I'm treating that like it's an experiment.
Yeah.
And the last few experiments that I've tested have proven to be pretty successful. And I think for me, it's just sort of a framework of how can I take my emotions and remove my emotions from whatever it is that I'm doing. And if I put my emotions over here, then I can just do the activity, and the activity, I won't stop doing the activity because I'm not getting frustrated. I'm not getting depressed. I'm not getting, having the feelings of I suck type thing or some version of that, because I'm not letting those emotions get in the way of me taking action.
100%. And if, I always catch myself too, but if I ever let my emotions get into my headspace with getting in the way of what I know I have to do, that's just not a good position to be in. And sometimes it's really easy if you've blocked off times to, make your solicitation calls or follow up with the buyers you're working with or follow up with that seller you want to list their home, I don't know, in a month or so. You have to make those calls. You have to make that commitment to yourself, because if you block the time in your calendar and you don't do it, you've just failed yourself. And that's just going to be a cycle that you repeat. And you just have to break it.
Catherine, what advice would you give? I'm going to ask you two different questions. What advice would you give to an agent getting their license today? And the second question is, what advice would you give to a seasoned agent that's struggling today?
Okay, so for a new agent, I would say take the time right now to really develop your brand. Because when I first started, I didn't really do that well. I didn't think about the content I was putting out there. I was very focused on, I think I was a little too salesy. I was being way too salesy, and my content didn't have enough value and educational content for my audience. So for a new agent, I would say you're taking all this training, you're learning all these things. All that training should go into like content ideas for your marketing.
Okay.
For a seasoned agent, I would say, what has your business plan been year over year to continue growing your business? And now that we're coming into an entirely new, business environment, I would really challenge that agent to really redo their business plan and their lead generation, and to kind of take whatever they've done, kind of throw it out the window and put some more energy into it. What can you do that's different? And similarly to what I would say to a new agent, maybe a seasoned agent has to some degree reinvent themselves. How can you create a new version of yourself now that you've done all this business, and reintroduce yourself as, these are my specialties, this is what I've accomplished, this is what I'm looking forward to in the future, this is how I'm helping my clients today. If you do that reintroduction, people could really take a second look at that agent.
So I find that right now it seems as though there's several storms in our industry. There's lawsuits, there's the economy, there's commoditization, technology, artificial intelligence, all kinds of circumstances. And I look at those circumstances as though if there are storms. And I know that I will be in the storm for a shorter period of time when I run into the storm rather than away from the storm. And so that would be my advice to both new and seasoned agents, to consider, if you're challenged by the circumstance, if you're challenged by the storm, run into it. And I think that's a different way of what you just shared, Catherine, of you may have to be more creative. You may have to be more work harder, more efficient, more effective. However you can be able to say, this circumstance is the circumstance. Now, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to say, I'm not going to cower. I'm not going to run away. I'm going to be all in, and I'm just going to hit the ground running, and I'm going to run through that storm as quickly as I can. And most of your competitors are running away. And when you understand that, you'll realize that we're in a unique opportunity today to really make a significant difference in our businesses.
100%, because a lot of agents are not taking advantage of these quote unquote storms, right? The level of automations, workflows, and AI, if you implement these tools, you can create follow-up campaigns that you set it and forget it because it's content that you've put together, but you can truly automate all of this communication. I would have never been able to build my travel agency and continue growing my real estate business in New York City if I wasn't taking advantage of those automations. I would have never had the time or, the organizational skills to do that. I really rely on email marketing segments, creating workflows, and then AI is a powerful tool. And, agents should, exactly what you said, run into the storm and take advantage of all these new disruptors. But if you're ahead of the disruptor, then it's not going to eat you up.
All right. So I'm going to leave us with this, and I'm going to ask for a final thought from you, Katherine. So agents listening to this, if you want to increase your revenue 30 to 40%, to do no additional, bring on no additional buyers, no additional sellers, yet increase your revenue by 30 or 40%, visit www. What's the website?
Habitatsbycat.co. I see it in the chat too. So
habitatsbycat.co. That's cat with a K. That is one way that you can be able to add a valuable tool to your business and be able to increase your revenue, provide a better service. And of course, there's other ways that you can do this as well. We're just offering you one way today. Kat, what final thoughts would you like to leave us with today?
I think final thoughts are, now is a time to think outside the box, and really whatever you decide to do and how you're going to grow your real estate business, I would say have it be really authentic to who you are. I think why this travel thing has worked for me, it's part of my career story, being with Marriott for so long. And when I started being less salesy and more explaining who I am and the experience I have and why working in Marriott for almost 10 years helped me be the salesperson that I am today, it all kind of ties together why I've taken on this business venture. So I would leave you all with that as well. Be authentic to whoever you are, and that's going to be all of the value you need to resonate with your audience and to ultimately grow your business.
Yeah, thank you for your time today. CPI community, I wish you to have the best day of your life. Be grateful, make good choices, go help somebody, and go find a listing. God bless you. Thank you, Kat.
Bye.
But I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. Damn. All of the Barbies.